Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Haley, and I work alongside George in hosting the Aerobic Winter Challenge. So, thank you for coming to our Lunch and Learn. And today we have Sharon Sifling, who is a program coordinator for our Arizona Health Zone program. So, I'll let her explain more about what she does. And yeah, take it away, Sharon.
Thanks, Haley. Hi, everyone. My name is Sharon Sifling. I am with Coconino County Health and Human Services AZ Health Zone program. And we do nutrition education and then policy system and environmental things around nutrition education. So George invited me to come and participate with Aerobic Winter Challenges Lunch and Learns. And he thought it would be a fun idea during the holidays to do one around dessert. So, one of the things that we do are food demos, and we cook with adults and kids, seniors. So, in this, um, I don't know, medium, Zoom, virtually, it's hard to do that and have you guys taste it. I would love to have you taste it. So, what I did was I previously recorded the food demos, and so I'm going to be cooking them. They're obviously going to be a shortened version because I'm cutting out kind of the long parts you'll see. As a caveat, I am not a social media person. I am beyond that. I think so give me a little grace when you see my videos. It's not I'm not a famous TikToker. Haven't gotten millions of likes. So just keep that in mind. Um, but yeah, we're gonna do 4 recipes today, and I would like it to be interactive. If you have any questions, if you have any comments, feel free to unmute and chat or put it in the chat. Um, yeah, so I would like it to be interactive. The first one I'm going to put in the chat, our first recipe. Let's see if it uploads. Okay. So the first recipe I'm going to do is fudgy fruit. And Haley, if you can get that video ready. So fudgy fruit is a really simple, it's one of it's going to be a healthier recipe because what you're doing is you're simply using fruit and we're melting a little bit of chocolate and putting on it. And so the chocolate's minimal, the real star is the fruit. So here's the video. Haley, are you playing? Hi, welcome to my kitchen. My name is Sharon and today we're going to be making fudgy fruit. For fudgy fruit, we're going to be using 2 bananas, 8 strawberries, and 2 tablespoons of chocolate chips. You can use semi-sweet, you can use milk chocolate, whatever you have on hand. Today I'm going to be using milk chocolate. That's one of my favorites, but you can use whatever you have. Before we begin cooking, the first thing we're going to do is wash our hands and then wash our fruit. So we're going to wash our bananas, even with a peel. Any peeled fruit, we still want to wash those. And then we want to give those strawberries a wash as well. Then we'll get cooking. We've gotten our bananas ready. We've peeled them. We've cut them into quarters. So they're ready to go. What we're going to do is we're going to put them on our plate. Our plate's covered with wax paper. That's just for the cleanup at the end. When we drizzle that chocolate on it and it cools, it's going to come right off the wax paper. If you don't have wax paper, that's okay. You don't need to use it. You can just skip that step. We're going to put our strawberries on. Fruit in season, super sweet. That may be enough to fix your sugar craving at the moment. But if you want a little something extra, this recipe is a little something extra, adding that chocolate on top. And if you have coconut or nuts, you can chop those up and toast them and put those on top after you drizzle the chocolate. So good. Those are optional if you have that and you want to include it. Today we're just going to be doing the chocolate. So next, we're going to take our chocolate chips to the microwave. We're going to microwave them. When you microwave chocolate, you want to do it in small increments and you want to stir in between. So we're going to start with 10 seconds. We're going to stir 10 seconds, stir till we have a nice smooth consistency. Okay, our chocolate is done melting. Depending on your microwave, it'll take 30 seconds to a minute. Could be anywhere in there, but you just want it to get a nice melted consistency and we're good to go. So now we're just going to take it. We're just going to take our spoon and we're just going to drizzle it onto our bananas and our strawberries. You could use other fruit if you wanted as well, but this really makes a fun snack. And you can get the whole family involved in making these. Kids love to add a little bit of fun. You could draw shapes, faces, just really have a good time with it. And we're just adding a little something extra. Okay, almost done. We have 2 more strawberries. We're just gonna turn them a little so I can see their side. And then after we have all the chocolate drizzled on, we're gonna let them cool. If you want them to cool, you can eat them right away. If you can't wait, that's okay. But if you want to let them cool, you can at room temperature, or you can put them in the fridge and they'll cool a little faster. As soon as they're cool, we'll pull them off our wax paper, put them on a plate, and they're ready to eat. Okay, so that's our first recipe, was fudgy fruit. So super simple. Throw in the chat a fruit that you would consider using to make with this recipe. It can be strawberries, bananas, another favorite fruit that you have. What would be something that you could see potentially using? Pineapple, nice. That would be blueberries. Apples, yeah. All great ideas. This is super flexible recipe. Any fruit will work. So pretty simple, pretty easy. Some of my family loves nuts, some don't. So they would love some toasted nuts on there, as well as the toasted coconut, and that brings out the extra flavor toasting it. So I would recommend that too if you do that. But fruits have lots of fiber, lots of vitamins, lots of minerals in it for us. So awesome choice. Our next recipe that we're going to do is also going to use bananas. Bananas are high in potassium. So those are great to lower blood pressure and can benefit the heart. They also have vitamins like vitamin C, vitamin B6. So our next recipe, and bananas are frequently in a lot of households. I was listening to an NPR session about bananas and how there's lots of different variety of bananas. I was only aware of a couple. But bananas are a pretty common fruit. So this next one is sauteed bananas. As you're watching it, think about, you could potentially also use this recipe with other fruit as well. And we're just going to saute them. It's super simple, guys, and it's so delicious. So Haley, take it away. Let's do the sauteed bananas. Hi, welcome to my kitchen. Today we're going to be making sauteed bananas. Sauteing brings out the natural sweetness in fruit. You can use this with any fruit, but today we're going to be using bananas. Come join me. Our ingredients for this recipe are 3 firm but ripe bananas. These are a little overripe for my liking, but they're still firm, so they'll work. 1 teaspoon of butter, 1½ tablespoons of brown sugar, ½ teaspoon cinnamon, and 1½ teaspoons squeezed lemon juice. We're going to start with 3 bananas. The first thing we want to do is wash our hands and any fruit that we're using. So in this recipe, we're going to wash our 3 bananas, and we have washed our lemon as well already. Anytime you're using fruit, whether you peel it or you cut it, even if you don't eat the skin, you always want to go ahead and wash it. So these have been washed. We're going to go ahead and peel them, and then we're going to cut them lengthwise and then horizontally into quarters. Okay, we have our bananas all ready. They have been cut in half widthwise and then lengthwise, so we have those quartered and ready to go. We have our skillet warming up over low heat. We're going to add our butter, the brown sugar, and finally the cinnamon. And we're going to stir this until it's bubbly. Now remember, we have this on low heat, so this might take a minute for your butter to melt. Be patient with it. As soon as our butter is melted, then we're going to add our banana quarters. So sauteing brings out the banana sweetness, as I mentioned, and it creates a delicious caramel-like crust. And so this could be used with any other fruit that you like. If you have something else on hand other than a banana, the technique can also be applied to that. If you are making this recipe with sweeter fruits instead of bananas, although bananas are very sweet, you can also decrease the amount of sugar And this also makes an excellent topping for like pancakes, waffles, maybe some oatmeal. Or if you just have a sweet tooth at the end of a day, this makes a great quick and easy snack. Okay, I can hear it bubbling a little bit. We're gonna give it another minute to come together. So we've just mixed the brown sugar and cinnamon together. I normally don't cook with a fork. I'm using a fork because we're gonna put the bananas in and we're gonna put them down, the cut side down first, and then we're gonna flip them. And so I just thought it would be easier with a fork. A spatula might work better for you. All right, I don't know if you can see in here, our butter and cinnamon and brown sugar mixture is bubbling. And so we're gonna start adding our bananas. And we're gonna just lay those in our pan, the cut side down. We're just gonna put that right on top. Flip that one over. We're just gonna add them all to the pan. It's very fragrant. You can smell the cinnamon right now. You can hear the sizzle of the bananas. Some of my butter mixture got stuck behind a banana, so I just kind of moved that out. You can rearrange that so the bananas are sitting in that deliciousness. Let's see, there's 2 more pieces. We're going to break them into smaller pieces. Nothing wrong with that to get them to fit. Now this recipe serves 3 people. If you have fewer people, it can easily be cut in half. So don't be afraid to play around with the different portion sizes. So we're gonna let this sit and cook for 1 to 2 minutes until those are golden brown. And then after 1 to 2 minutes, we're gonna flip them over. Okay, it's been about 2 minutes. As you can see, we have juices in our pan. It's bubbling with from the bananas and that butter, sugar, cinnamon mixture. It's smelling delicious. And so we're just gonna start flipping them over carefully, one at a time, and we'll just flip them all over, and we're gonna continue to cook these until the other side is golden brown. So it'll probably just be a couple more minutes. These are smelling so delicious. Okay, it's been a couple more minutes. Let's go ahead and check these to see how they're looking. They're looking great. They are going to be on the softer side now that they've been cooking. And we're going to remove them from the heat and put them on a plate. And our next step will be sprinkle with lemon juice. All right, I've removed the bananas from the pan, put them on a plate. They're just about ready to serve. We're gonna add them with just the splash of lemon juice, and we're just gonna drizzle this across them. And this acidity is gonna just help brighten up the flavor and balance out all that sweetness from the bananas and the sugar, cinnamon, butter mixture. Remember, you can use any fruit you want. Apples would also be an excellent choice. And you're ready for a healthy sweet snack. Enjoy.
Okay, that was a super cool video. So I think Sharon might be having a little bit of technical issues, but I do still have the materials that she provided us. So, I mean, that sauteed bananas looks super cool. If I like bananas, I would be all over that. Like, oh, there she is. Is that you, Sharon?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right, are you guys there?
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Sharon, I think you're muted. I'm so sorry.
All right, how about now?
Good.
I'm good. Okay. Did you finish watching the sauteed bananas?
Hmm.
Okay, super. Haley, will you, because now I'm on my phone, will you make sure, I'm not sure if the sauteed bananas recipe went into the chat. Will you check that and then do our next recipe for me too?
Yes.
Okay, super. Thank you. So the sauteed bananas, I have to tell you guys, um, in the video, I tell you it serves 3 people. It is 3 full bananas. I had not eaten lunch that day, and so I was at home and I was doing these videos. And like I said, I'm not a YouTuber, I'm not a TikToker, and so I'm sometimes doing the same clip over like 20 times, saying the same thing because I've jumbled it and it just sounds like nonsense. And so I'm like, oh my goodness, got to start over. And then I realized I have not had lunch, and I literally ate all the bananas just probably within 5 minutes. I just scarfed them down. And then, so then I was giggling because I'm like, oh my goodness, it serves 3. I just ate a whole pan full of bananas for lunch and they were delicious. So if you love cinnamon, super good recipe. Like I said in the recipe, the lemon really does. When you watch cooking shows, they're like, oh, it brightens it. It really does. It just adds a little something extra to it. So I wouldn't skip that step. If you have fresh squeezed lemon juice, great. Frequently, when the lemons, when you have everybody in Phoenix that that's sending citrus your way in the wintertime, I will squeeze those and freeze them in ice cube trays, and so that I have fresh lemon juice throughout the year. And then when I don't have that, a lot of times I just purchase the lemon juice. So that's also an option if you don't want to do the fresh squeezed and you have a jar of lemon juice in the fridge. Works perfectly great too. So super great recipe, and very easy as you saw in the recipe. And also you could use other fruit with that as well. I think it would work really well with apples, probably need a little bit longer cooking time. But the bananas, really delicious if you like bananas. Okay, our next recipe we're gonna do. So these first 2 are gonna be vegetarian, generally speaking. This next one can also be a vegetarian option, or it has milk in it, but you'll see that you can use a non-dairy alternative. And Haley, if you can put the recipe in the chat too. For folks, this no-cook chocolate pudding is next. And super simple, super easy. The base of it is avocados, and I will let you know, my mother does not like avocados. I totally forgot that. And then after I'd made this for the demo, we'd had dinner, and it's like, who wants a healthy dessert? And so they were taste testing all of them. And she just gobbled up this no cook chocolate pudding. And I was like, oh, do you want to know why it's healthy? And I totally forgot that she does not like avocados. We could say bless her heart. And I'm like, it's avocados. And then I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. I forgot you really don't like avocados. I wasn't trying to trick her. But she really couldn't taste that it was an avocado. So kind of fun too. Haley, if you want to give us a go, and we'll check out the no cook chocolate pudding. Hi, my name's Sharon. Welcome to my kitchen. Today we're making no cook chocolate pudding. For our recipe, we need 2 ripe avocados, 1 banana, 1/4 cup cocoa powder unsweetened, 1/4 cup of milk or milk alternative. This could be soy milk, rice milk, almond milk, oat milk, whatever you have in your house. You just need 1/4 cup. 2 tablespoons of honey. We're going to use honey as our sweetener. Of course, the banana will also act as a sweetener in our pudding. Remember, infants under 1 should not be consuming honey. And finally, we have 1 teaspoon vanilla extract, and that's all we need to make no cook chocolate pudding. All right, I have peeled and cubed our avocado, and what we're going to do now is we're just going to mix everything together in a blender or food processor, whichever one you have. Either one will work great. bananas in chunks. We've peeled it and chunked it. Anytime you're cooking with vegetables or fruit, you always want to make sure, give them a wash before you cut them. Now we're going to do our 1/4 cup cocoa powder. Our 1/4 cup of milk or milk alternative. Honey. And finally, we have a teaspoon of vanilla extract. We'll blend this up till it's a smooth, creamy consistency. Okay, we are done blending. We have a nice smoothie, creamy consistency, so we're going to take our pudding out of our food processor. I'm going to scrape the blades because there's all this delicious pudding stuck to them. We want to make sure we get all that. And when you dish it up, you can put it in one dish, a serving bowl, or you can put it in multiple serving bowls so it's ready to go for folks already portioned out. I'm just going to put it in one bowl today. And then you can put this in the fridge to chill. If you can't wait, dive right in. Nothing wrong with that, but look at that nice creamy texture. The avocados are loaded with healthy fats, which is great for our bodies. Minimal sugar in this recipe. We have the banana and we have the honey. But other than that, we don't have any added sugar. We have the cocoa powder, which is naturally unsweet. If you want to put some fruit with it, I've got some strawberries. Nuts also would go really well with this. Toasted coconut, another great option. And there you have it. No bake. Chocolate pudding, ready to go. Enjoy. Okay. Any questions or comments about any of those 3 recipes?
I have a quick question. If folks want to make this vegan and maybe not use honey, what alternative would you recommend? Or with people who have children under 1 year old.
Great question. You can leave the honey totally out. I am not a huge vegan cook, but I would think that you could use like agave
Mm-hmm.
would be an option. If you wanted to use a little bit of sugar, you could. With this recipe, whenever we make it as a food demo, we always let people to taste it. Sometimes they want to add a little more cocoa powder, which doesn't have any sweetener, or sometimes they may want to add a little bit more sweetness. And so another banana would also do that. Bananas, as they continue to ripen, continue to become sweeter. And so a riper banana would also make it sweeter instead of using the honey. Good question.
Thank you.
Okay.
Sorry to say, does anybody else have any questions? Okay, cool. Thank you.
All right. So those are kind of our 3 healthy recipes if you're feeling like you have a sweet tooth. I am a huge chocolate fan. That's kind of my sweet go-to. And so I really like these recipes. The sauteed bananas, like I said, doesn't have chocolate in it, but I inhaled them after making them for this. So those were also very good. But they're all high fiber, low sugar. There's still sweetness to them. There's still sugar. You're going to have sugar from the fruits, natural sugars as well. And so those are that option. Our next one that Haley's pulling up for us is our final recipe that I wanted to share for you today. And this one was based on a request specifically. So this one, I am personally sharing one of my go-to recipes. So at the top, I like this setup in this picture. You have our no-cook chocolate pudding, which is a healthy dessert. And if you're feeling like you need something a little more decadent and you want to splurge, the bottom picture is what we're going to be viewing next, and that is Hershey's Premium Doubly Chocolate Brownies. And Haley is putting that recipe in there. I love this recipe. It's kind of one of my go-tos as far as desserts and chocolate. Half of my family likes the white marshmallow cream and the frosting on top. The other half says just a plain brownie is good enough. And so you can do it both ways. You don't have to put the topping on it. And so this next recipe does not fit into healthy category. It is more one of those things that is certainly fine sometimes. All foods are good. All foods, we can eat. Some we want to eat more often than others. So this one I would put in my sometimes once in a while category in my house. So Haley, if you want to start this recipe, we'll do this one. Hi everyone, we're going to be making Hershey's Doubly Chocolate Ultimate Brownies. If you're looking for a decadent chocolate dessert, this is the one for you. I also love this recipe because I typically have everything on hand as a pantry stock item that I normally always have. It bakes up quick. It uses a minimum amount of dishes. Today I've separated out all the ingredients for you, but usually I'm just using one measuring cup and one bowl, so I love it for that reason as well. It's quick, it's easy to clean up, it's from scratch. You're gonna love it, I hope. All right, so for our recipe, we have 3/4 cup Hershey's cocoa, unsweetened, half teaspoon of baking soda. We're gonna butter, 2/3 cup melted butter. So I measure out my 2/3 cup. I actually put a 1/3 cup in here. I'm gonna melt it first. My other 1/3 is here. So I have it divided, ready to go, and I'm gonna melt it as I need it. Then we're gonna use boiling water. Then we have 2 cups granulated sugar, 2 eggs. We have some flour, 1 1/3 cups all-purpose flour. Vanilla, we have 1 teaspoon vanilla extract, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and then at the very end, we're gonna use some chocolate chips. So the recipe calls for premium semi-sweet chocolate chunks, chips. Use what you have. I typically throw in the whole bag. I usually use milk chocolate because that's what I have on hand. And I think the bag is 11.5 ounces. I throw the whole thing in there because what am I going to do for 1.5 ounces? If you have another purpose for it, go for it. If you had a few less, it's not going to matter either. The recipe is super flexible as far as that goes. So we're going to start by preheating our oven to 350 degrees. Baking pan, 13 by 9 inch. We sprayed it. I sprayed it with oil so that our brownies don't stick. And we're going to take our cocoa powder, and our baking powder, and we're going to put them in a bowl. I use this one. I like to use a big glass bowl because you're going to be putting in the melted butter, the boiling water, so it just works for me. Okay, so we have the cocoa powder and the baking soda stirred together in the bowl. Now we're going to add 1/3 cup butter that's been melted. So, like I said, I normally just use the same measuring cup for everything. My liquids and my dries. Doesn't matter too much with this recipe. It's pretty forgiving. So now that we have this in here, I'm gonna stir this up, and then at the same time, I'm gonna put my water in here. There needs to be 1/2 cup boiling water, so I'm gonna put my water in here, throw that in the microwave, get it boiling, so I can add that as well in a second. All right, I'm mixing the melted butter in with the cocoa powder and the baking soda, and as you can see, it's getting really thick, but there's still a lot of cocoa powder. That's okay, we're just gonna keep mixing. It's gonna become, I don't know, more like a paste, kind of. But we're gonna just mix that all together. Our water is still in the microwave. We're trying to get that up to boiling. And as soon as that's done, we'll add that. Like I said, really easy recipe. You kind of do everything in this one blue bowl, so it makes cleanup easy. And if you like to bake, you might have most of these things on hand. Let me go check on our water. I'm back. I have the boiling water. So if you use a measuring cup, I would suggest a glass one if you're gonna boil your water in your measuring cup instead of a plastic one. I've never done that before, but that would be pretty hot. So now we're just gonna work this water in. The other three ingredients were kind of pasty, so it's gonna take a few minutes here. Not a few minutes, I don't know. Probably not that long. But we're gonna mix it all so it's the same consistency. And then after we do that, we're gonna add sugar, then the eggs, and then the remaining third cup of butter. So I have this third cup of butter that's set to the side. After this is all combined, I'll put that in the microwave in my measuring cup to melt it. Depending on your microwave, might depend on how long it goes. Probably somewhere between 30 and 45 seconds to melt that. You don't want to splatter and make a mess in your microwave or lose butter in the process. So you can also use margarine. I always use butter for this recipe. I always use unsalted butter. Recipes already have salt added to them, but use what you have. All right, we have that mixed in. It's looking good. We're gonna stir in our 2 cups of sugar. And the eggs. And I'm not gonna stir the sugar all the way in. I'm gonna put the eggs in to get that liquid to help too. I'm gonna crack them right in the bowl. You don't need to crack them and whisk them in a different one. You can do it all in the same bowl, same spatula. While I'm doing this, I'm gonna put the butter in that last third cup of butter in my measuring cup, put it in the microwave. I'm gonna get that melting because that goes in next. Okay, we're back with our second half of the 2/3 cup of melted butter. So this is a 1/3 cup of melted butter. It's gonna go in. Scrape our measuring cup so we get all of it out. We're gonna mix that in. After we combine this, then we'll add the flour, salt, vanilla, then it goes in our pan. So we're almost to the baking portion. Told you, easy, easy. If you have a potluck for work, cooking for the family, want something homemade, delicious, don't care about the sugar content or the calories, this is a good dish. All right, those are all combined. We're gonna put in our, I think it's 1 1/3 cups of flour. We're gonna combine that gently. We're gonna put in the salt at the same time and the vanilla. All right, I'm gonna mix that up and then it'll go into our baking dish. Okay, we're still combining. It's almost combined though. The flour, salt, and vanilla are almost all mixed in. I told you in the last step that we were gonna put it in the baking dish. After that, I forgot. We're gonna add our chocolate chips to it first. If you wanna do nuts, put your nuts in at this step, that's optional. So once it's all combined, adding in our chocolate chips, dump those in, stir them up. You can stir or you can fold. The batter's kind of thick at this point, so folding is probably easiest. And now we have that prepared baking dish, 13 by 9 inch, sprayed with oil, or if you don't have spray, you can wipe it down with oil. Either way, so you want something there to help it release the brownie when they're done cooking. All right, we've got that all out. We're just gonna even it out in our baking dish here. Doesn't have to be perfect, but you don't want just a glob in the very middle. Just into the corners. This is for home. It's for us. I'm gonna use my finger to scrape off the spatula, all that goodness. All right, this is going in the oven, preheated, 350 degrees, 35 to 40 minutes, until the brownie begins to pull away from the sides. We're not gonna do a toothpick test for this one to see if we put it in the center, if it comes out clean, because it's a brownie and it's gonna be moist and chewy and chocolatey, and so the toothpick won't work. What we're looking for is the sides pulling away from the sides of the dish a little bit. So 35 to 40 minutes. All right, our brownie is in the oven. It has about 15 minutes left on it. While that finishes cooking, we want to make the frosting because the brownie by itself isn't decadent enough for special occasions. Sometimes you want a little extra. So when the brownie comes out and it's still warm, we're gonna slather on a container of the jet puffed marshmallow cream, whatever you call it. We're gonna put that on while it's still warm. It's just gonna create this incredible ooey gooey marshmallow goodness. On top of that, we're gonna put buttercream frosting. And so we're gonna make the buttercream frosting now so that it's ready to go. So our buttercream frosting is 3 tablespoons of butter softened, 1 cup powdered sugar, 1/4 cup Hershey's cocoa. I put them in the same glass jar. It's all good. 2 to 3 tablespoons of milk. That's gonna be our liquid. You're gonna add more if it's too thick and it needs a little bit more. Less, don't add it all. If it's, you're just gonna check the consistency as you go. And then also 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract, okay? So in a bowl, we're not using the old bowl, the other bowl from the other recipe. You can if you wash it, don't use it. Otherwise, if you don't wash it, because even though it's chocolate and you think that's great, it had the raw egg in that one, so you do want to start with a clean bowl. So we're gonna put our powdered sugar and our cocoa, our softened butter in. I'm gonna go ahead and put all of our vanilla in. We're gonna get that in first. 1/2 teaspoon vanilla extract, okay? And then I'm gonna put some of the milk in. I'm not gonna put it all because you can't take it out. You can always add more, right? Then we're gonna take a hand mixer. You can take a stand blender, whatever you have, to mix it up until you have buttercream frosting consistency. Okay. We'll be back. Okay, our frosting's coming together. We still have a lot of cocoa and sugar that's not incorporated. We have some butter. The butter wasn't real soft, but it's, you know, getting cold out, and so the house is kind of cold. Chilled, but it's coming together. Just keep mixing it. I think in a stand mixer, this might be a little more challenging just because there's not that much that we're making. We're only making about 1 cup of frosting, so it's a small amount. All right, so that's looking pretty good to me. I'm going to add just a little bit more of the milk. I probably have 1/2 tablespoon left. I'm gonna add about 1/2 of that just so it's, I want a little softer consistency because we're going to, again, we're gonna put the marshmallow cream on, and then right after that, we're gonna put this on, and then as we swirl it, it's gonna make this great, cool marbled effect. And then bam, your brownies are done. They just need to finish cooling and they're ready to go. But I think our frosting looks great. Okay, it's about 1 cup of buttercream frosting. We're just gonna set that aside. We have 10 minutes left on our brownie. As soon as that comes out, on goes the marshmallow cream, then the frosting, then we let it cool. Okay, brownies are done baking. I put them in for 35. They need another 5 minutes. Gave them another 5, pulled them out. So they were in there for a total of 40. This is what mine look like. Yours would look similar. Okay, so they're hot, straight out of the oven. Let me turn the oven off. Straight out of the oven, we're gonna put the marshmallow cream right on top of the hot brownies. These brownies are good too without the marshmallow cream and the icing. I like the extra. Half of my family just likes the brownies. So at this point, it's all personal preference. Hold on. I can't get into the marshmallow. This is a bit of a sticky mess, usually. If anybody knows a trick to do this without making a mess all over your fingers, I'm all about that. Okay. Get that. Sorry. All right, spatula. We're just gonna dump it right on top. The goal is to spread this around as well as it melts. that job will become easier. You'll notice I'm not wiping it off, the spoon off on the brownie, because it'll tear your brownie, because your brownie is still very hot. And so if you try to smear it off your spatula or your spoon, whatever you're using, it's going to tear your brownie, which isn't the end of the world because it's going to get covered anyway, and nobody will know in the end if you cover it well. Get all the marshmallow cream out that you can, and then as it melts, it becomes easier to spread. But as you can see it pulled that little piece off right there. That's okay. I'm just gonna gently try to spread this around. Our goal is to spread it all over. Your pan's gonna be hot, so don't grab the pan to hold it in place. Use a oven mitt if you do need to do that. Just fine. My hand's just, other hand is sticky right now, so I don't want to do that. I have seen recipes where people use just marshmallows and not the marshmallow cream. It doesn't seem to be the same consistency though. So just know that that's an option if you don't have the marshmallow cream and you just want to use marshmallows, or if you get really crazy and you make your own marshmallows, that's cool too. That would be awesome, I bet. I've never made my own marshmallows. Okay, we almost have it all covered here. We just kind of want it all covered, and ideally it's kind of level, and there's the same amount across the pan. You can see I've got a bare spot in the middle, but it's close. All right, I'm gonna scrape a little bit of that off. Okay, now comes our buttercream frosting that we made. Okay, that cup of buttercream frosting, same thing. We're gonna put that on top now. So I'm kind of putting it all over because everything is hot and ooey gooey. And then we're just gonna take our spatula and we're just gonna kind of smear this around, and as we do, it's gonna kind of make a marbling effect as they all mix, which is great. This is our final step. After this, it's just a matter of letting it cool and eating it. I like to make sure all the corners to every edge has frosting and marshmallow cream. The more you marble, the more it's gonna all mix together. So if you like that look, go for it. If you want more of a marbled look, don't wipe as much. I'm just gonna scrape the rest off here. And then the brownies will continue to cool and it will all come together, and then when it's cool you can cut these. This will all become firm. Your frosting and your marshmallow cream will all firm up, and then you can just cut them and it's delicious goodness. Enjoy! Okay, so there's our brownie recipe. If you guys are interested in that, feel free to use that and enjoy that. I did make an error in the video. I mean, there were a few videos and a few mistakes, but the big one was when I was talking about the cocoa powder and the baking soda at the beginning. I called it baking powder. It's not baking powder. There's just baking soda. So that was my fault in the video. So make sure you look at the actual recipe. The recipe calls for baking soda, and that's what's in this recipe. So that was one. And then I paused when I was looking at the first melted butter, and I was looking to see if the third cup cut was the same as melted, if it was the same quantity. And then I didn't comment on it. I don't even remember what the result was, but that's why I had kind of a weird pause there. I was like, I wonder if it's the same. And then I just kind of moved on. Um, I did kind of reference it, but I didn't do it well. I didn't feel like the recipe calls for 10-ounce package of semi-sweet chocolate chunks. And that's what I was saying. I just dumped typically the whole bag in there. For this one, I had already taken some out to use for the fudgy fruit, so it was a little short. It doesn't have to be a whole bag. You could also probably do any chip if you want to do like the peanut butter chips or there's white chips. Those probably all would go well as well. So that's what I was saying about it being forgiving if you're adding more, because the bags that they typically like the milk chocolate and semi-sweet bags of just chips are like the 11.5 ounces or something. So that was the only other thing I wanted to point out. Um, yeah, and then I saw having a little internet connection issue here. So I'm on my phone, but it looked like there was something that popped up in the chat from Kim. What did Kim put?
I just said I think it would be good with peppermint chips too.
Ooh, yes. That would be very, you know what else you could do? Like crushed up candy cane on top too. Also probably be very good.
Or maybe Andy's mints
Ooh, yes.
substituted for the chocolate chips, even.
Yes. Love it. Great ideas.
That sounds really good. I'm a huge fan of the Andes mints. Like going to Olive Garden as a kid, I would like get as many as I possibly could just because they're I don't know what it is about them, but they're so good.
The-
Did anybody have any questions for Sharon about any of the recipes or anything? I'll take that as a no. Okay, cool. Well, did you
Thanks for
have,
all coming today. Thanks for
yeah,
inviting me, Haley and George.
did you guys have anything, or did you have anything to add, Sharon?
Nope. Just remember, we're looking for balance between our food and our activity. And so just have a healthy balance and enjoy your holidays and all that that entails.
Thank you so much for coming. And so I'll stop the recording here. And we really appreciate everyone attending these. And we hope you share them more with your fellow team members or family and friends. Or maybe you get to utilize one of these super cool recipes throughout the holidays.